Who do you think is going to win? You got to make a bet.
Navi's heroes, very good mix of spell damage with Shadow Fiend and Gyro, good physical damage with Axe, Abaddon providing the cover. But if he goes really late game, I would think that it's going to be the advantage with the Medusa and the Phoenix Egg and the Drow Ranger. So Navi, they have a semi-good or alright start. They need to be able to push and try to gain an advantage. Otherwise, late game wise, I think Medusa side will have the advantage. So I would be going with VG with this line. Feels much more secure.
Okay. All right. Gods, do you agree?
I agree, which is, I mean, considering they just went like with a kind of unconventional draft, like with the Phoenix and the Drow first 2 pick, but it still feels like Vici Gaming have a clear plan, and I think an answer to the early Axe
it's a safer plan, I guess.
Yeah.
And Andrew, rounding things out, are you all aboard the Vici Gaming hype train? A win here puts them firmly in top 4.
I'm going to be the contrarian. I think Navi going to hang on to the momentum here. I have some faith in the Havos Gyrocopter. Come on, all 4, don't let me down.
All right, with that said, guys, we hand it off to our casters. Iori Gods will be taking you through this big showdown here. Navi versus Vici Gaming. Here we go.
All right. So, Vici versus Navi, Radiant side. We've got Vici, and looks like Navi maybe gearing up for an aggro try. I want to do some rosters quickly here. On the Vengeful Spirit, we will have none other than, was that
30 seconds.
Why? Nope, that's Fenrir on the Vengeful Spirit. We've got Black on the Drow Ranger in the safe lane. Moving across here, we've got Super on the Medusa, the Snake Lady headed mid. Ice, Ice, Ice on the Phoenix. And that will leave us with FY on the Wind Ranger. So I guess it will still be the offlane Phoenix and actually support Wind Ranger.
Okay, on the dire side, Funnick going to be playing the Axe. It's going to be in the offlane. The tri-lane for Navi, Havos Gyrocopter, Goblek on the Abaddon, and Vengscore on the Rubik, leaving Dendy in your mid lane on the Shadow.
Murder each other for my amusement.
Yeah, 2 of the best rapier carries here in the game. Medusa on one side, Gyrocopter on the other. Things could really heat up towards that late game, Gods. Rapier on rapier action. A lot of archers on the side of Vici as well. Yeah. Going with the lore strat. All right, so it'll be a safe lane try for Vici Gaming, and it looks like Navi got all in for this aggro try with the Abaddon Rubik Gyro.
Vici Gaming also going with the all-female draft. Well, I don't know what Phoenix is, but
Brian says
our producer
male.
says male, but
no, I guess
it's a bird. I feel like
birds don't have genders; they lay eggs.
when you hear the call, is it a masculine or a feminine call? Like, it's got a cloaca. So he does biology. I'll trust him on that one. I don't know what the hell that word means.
All right, cloacas all around. So we've got Phoenix versus Axe. Looks like Axe should be able to fare decently, at least out of the gate, getting the initial round of CS. But this try-on-try, who's got the advantage here, Gods? Wind Ranger and Vengeful Spirit, an interesting support duo.
I think Vici Gaming are in a slightly better position because they can use their pulls to deny XP and pull the weight back pretty well, and just having 3 heroes all with Drow Aura, but it's going to be hard. If someone ever gets caught up by a lift and pull back in, they don't have any real good defensive capabilities. FY hasn't skilled anything just yet. You may have to go for like a level 1 shackle shot for like that defensive stun, but just single target stuns. And actually Vengscore, he's the one kind of out of position here. Be a bit careful, but they've got the Abaddon, so they've got much more room for error, whereas Vici Gaming have to play very perfectly.
Yeah, true. And
that's a full rocket barrage with FY.
Oh my, he'll survive, but chewing through that regeneration down to 1 tango. Only 2 left here on Defender. He'll get telekinesis back. Beautiful shackle. Latches onto the Vanscore, and Havos gets Aphotic shielded as they exchange damage, but it looks like Navi get the better of the trade and will win the regeneration war, at least initially.
Yeah, this right. All right, Phoenix gender neutral.
Gender, they use its instead of his or her.
Okay.
So it's ambiguous. 4 girls and an it.
Hey, it's their
still a pretty feminine
transportation.
I like that.
Yeah, they'll fly around.
Mid looks like Shadow Fiend and Dusa getting a pretty even spread here. The Dusa slightly ahead, as you'd expect, as Dendy ramps up some of that momentum. Looks like Super will grab a double damage rune, so
that's a nice rune to have.
3 last hits for him here, yeah, not too bad. Looks like Vanscore grabs the bounty rune down bottom. So looking good for Navi initially here. Axe winning the top lane by a few CS, and it seems like this tri-lane, although relatively even, is in favor of Navi, at least for now.
Yeah. The Phoenix, his damage output's pretty minimal with his spells at the early levels, but once he hits level 5, level 6, that's when he can start putting a bit more pressure onto the axe as far as using his fire spirits a bit more aggressively.
Yeah. Phoenix will start to come online though. Still no kills yet. 3 minutes in this try-on-try. Looks like Black is, or pardon me, falling behind in the farm. Yeah, he's at about 6, Havos up to 13, and the big issue is regeneration. Black is out. I want to see these two supports. Everyone's totally dry on regen, so yeah, nothing they can do besides hide behind the tower.
Navi have 11 tangos between their 3 heroes.
Oh my, and you have the Abaddon on top of that throughout the mist coils. So even additional healing. So what do you do if you're Vici at this point? It's I think it's safe to say they've lost this tri-lane even though no one's died yet.
Yeah, they bought some more tangos back at base. They probably just look to ferry out like 2 sets of 4 tangos on the 2 supports, and I'm surprised they're not going for pulls. I guess they're a bit worried about just getting dived into the tower because it's a gyrocopter with a potential orthotic shield on himself, so they don't want to be putting themselves in a position where there's a way to take the tower hits and then, well, a gyrocopter to do the damage on the heroes. Phoenix probably, once level 6, I think iceiceice needs to pick up a TP scroll so he has a TP for that dive at the bottom lane, and that's when Vici Gaming can look to play a bit more, not really offensive, but they can look to just use the pulls, look to kind of deny XP and keep the wave back in a position where they don't actually have, where they may get dived, because I think they almost want Navi to dive them once Phoenix has a TP scroll.
Yeah, so it looks like down bottom Vici have opened up their pole camp here. I see some sentries down in the jungle.
They've had the pull camp. Was it actually blocked?
Lane. No, they've had it. They haven't pulled yet, have they?
No, they're just too worried about a gyro dive, I guess.
Yeah, I mean the rocket barrage is particularly potent in these early levels if you can catch them without creeps nearby. Now the Rubik has rotated. Vanscore's moved to the mid lane. I believe he had an invisibility rune on. Yeah, he's got a good like 10 seconds at least left on it. But with him missing off the map, they will play a bit more cautiously, and Super with pretty good positioning here.
Yeah, with 2 points in Mana Shield, we need a triple raise to get this kill. I don't even think that gets the kill, so...
Yeah, the Mana Shield does make things a little more difficult. And he's got plenty of bottle charges. Skills with the Stone Gaze above 6 on the top lane. Phonic finds the first blood. It'll be a 1-for-1 trade, but he gets the dunk before he goes down. And not too bad for the axe. Now meanwhile down bottom, Havos stunned up. Now slowed from the frost arrows there from the Dro. They will continue to pursue as far as they can. Do they dive the tower for this? They do not, especially with an Abaddon nearby and a Rubik inbound. They'll be happy just to finally get some lane control back and push back the likes of Navi. Okay,
so first blood going to Navi, and Phonic being pretty happy with that exchange. Not often useful. This is what, I mean, we talked about a bit in the pre-show. Phonic with a 1v1 lane, this is kind of where he shines. This is where he does great. iceiceice similarly loves these 1v1 matchups, but it's Phonic who gets the slightly better exchange.
Yeah, oh, Shackle Shot latches onto Havos, but the support is there. The heals from Go Black and the telekinesis from Vanscore will slow things down, but now they're on cooldown. Stun onto Havos again. The Abaddon proving to be a thorn in the side of VG and quelling their attempts for a kill on the gyro.
Yeah, they did buy a lot of extra regen. They all ran out of regen, and all 3 heroes in this bottom Vici Gaming tri-lane bought an extra set of tangos. He did almost choose through once more.
Wow. Oh, another Shackle Shot onto Havos. They're doing a lot of damage here. Go Black finally out of mana as he closes out the Fnatic shield, but they're going to turn on a Fenrir. Exactly. Vanscore sets it up. FY will be able to wind run away. Flat Cannon online, and it looks like Black will live. Meanwhile, top. Ooh, Berserker's Call. Looks like there's a miss there from Phonic. So, okay, good news for Navi down there. What does the Abaddon have? Does he have any kind of regen items? Does he have a Soul Ring or anything quite yet? Nope, just boots and a wand. So this may be an issue for Navi if he can't ferry down a Clarity or find some sort of regen item. I guess they do have a Basilius, so that helps.
Yeah. So mid lane Dendi is crushing the CS. 49 to the 29 of Super, and normally Dusa just sits mid, does pretty well for last hits, but against an SF, once SF gets that plus 60 damage from the souls, well then you're looking like pretty sad Dusa. You can use your Mystic Snake and kind of spam your nuke a bit, but you don't match up to the SF in terms of damage.
Yeah, we're going to cut to another camera here, folks, in just a second. Sorry about the little lag issues we're having. But don't worry, you're not missing anything. Everyone's just farming away. And there we go. So FY going to be able to pull and finally get more lane control back for his team.
One of you has figured out that there are actually
CS matching up 32 compared to the 18 of Black's Dro.
All 3 lanes just being won. There's CS advantage, a much lower CS for both the carries in the bottom lane, but you look at the mid lane, it's SF dominating, Axe also dominating on CS and getting the first blood, so Navi, definitely not a fluke at this point that they're...
1,000 net worth lead at 8 minutes, gods. And that's huge.
Yeah, that's just with a 1 kill edge as well, that's the crazy thing about that one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, now in the jungle here, the wind run away, and now Navi making a big rotation. Looks like they want to secure this bounty rune. Alright, they'll head back down. Ooh, Midas Shadow Fiend. Okay, this is interesting. I was casting with Winter earlier, and we were talking about Midas on Shadow Fiend, and I commented on we've seen a surprising lack of it in this tournament. It's been almost exclusively mechs or Yules or some other utility item right away, and here Dendi feeling confident going the greedy build, given that they're so far ahead already.
Yeah, and I think just feeling like there's no pressure on him to join up with the fights. The lanes are all being won, so it's going to be the Axe who can come to the fights while the SF just keeps on farming.
And also with Adusa in your lane, you know her solo kill potential is basically non-existent, and as long as they can keep tabs on the supports of Vici, he should be pretty safe, at least for the next 5 minutes or so while that Midas starts to come online and pay some dividends.
Yeah. And Funnick's got his Vanguard now playing out of the Courier, so this is where he becomes not unkillable, but it's going to take at least one support, probably even more than just a support rotation to bring down the Axe here, as iceiceice may be level 8, but not really going to be able to kill Funnick on his own.
Yeah, so Funnick,
well, he's going for it now. He's got the max fire upgrades, he's actually going for this kill. Funnick just needs to get out of range, he's trapped by the side here. What do I know? Make it out? Well, he gets the refresh.
Okay, no, that's not happening for Funnick. Yeah, good.
Alright, I just say you need a support rotation and iceiceice just solo kills him. Well, that happens.
The positioning there from iceiceice is what's genius, because there was really nowhere for Funnick to go. He was stuck at the side shop, and you can only get so far away with all the trees there. So
he just had to run straight north, which was a bit of an odd choice to trap himself off to the side there against the wall, but even running north, he was already slowed by the dive, which has a move speed slow.
Yeah, exactly. I think he was worried about making it out, wanted to try to take the fastest path to get away from that kind of focal point near the supernova. But either way, nice setup from iceiceice, and that'll level it up 2-2, just shy of the 10-minute mark. As the Axe, who was dominating the lane, does get knocked down a few rungs, and now that top lane is going to be pretty even. iceiceice picks up his urn and hanging on to some gloves of haste, perhaps thinking about a hand of Midas here.
Okay, this is a hero that doesn't need much in the way of items, it's much more about the levels. Getting the fast level 11 especially, and even just to get that level 16 as early as possible into the game. So I kind of like the Midas build on the Phoenix here.
Yeah, he's just doing some neutrals here. And a lot of XP, he'll have a very fast level 11, especially with that solo kill. So Funnick, no Blink Dagger this early on means he can't really move around and control tempos in other lanes, but it does mean he can do shenanigans like this. Farm the Ancients, a nice double stack for him, as Dendi bottles up a double damage.
Alright, Dendi not really going to be looking too much to take a fight. He's happy just to keep seeing mid cause super problems by just not letting him farm too well, and with the DD rune, Super's definitely not getting CS outside of his Mystic Snake, so the offensive trial being very quiet. It's not really even been an offensive trial, it's just been a let's trial in the bottom lane and not let this Drow Ranger farm. 32 CS only for Black on the Drow. Not exactly a hero that's going to be able to have much of an impact without levels here. Even looking just for that level 6 to get the marksmanship.
Oh my, yeah, this is really scary. Drow is a hero notorious for not playing well from behind. Initiated on here. Ball down, flies through, buys them a little bit of time. Phoenix with a good supernova will zone everyone out, but Vanscore goes on to Black. Juan keeps Black alive. Vanscore really wants this kill. Not going to find it. Instead, gets shackled and will go down himself. The rest of Navi all survive as Phoenix zones them out, but can't find a kill of his own.
Yeah, so you rotate your Phoenix and just get the Rubik. Go Black almost died as well, but it still feels like that didn't actually hurt Navi too much. They lose just a support. The supernova goes on cooldown, so across the board, it's not the worst result for them, but I mean, for Vici Gaming's point of view, they just want to open up that bottom lane, get Black as much of a clear space as possible to get his farm on. He may even just pick up a Mask of Death now to allow... Yeah, he's going to pick up the Mask of Death on the Jerk to allow himself to jump.
Super forced to use the ultimate here. Even a Requiem gets channeled to try and deal with the Stone Gaze. The battle over the rune will yield in Dendi getting up that bounty. Invis in the bottom, but no one going to go for it quite yet.
Yeah, Drow's actually can at least catch up on farm now. Level 6, so you've got to use that. Not to mention the lifesteal, so jungle is open, but top lane we see Funnick aggressively kind of looking to allow a boss to bring down this T1 tower, but with the Phoenix here, this is not going to be an easy take.
Yeah. Phonic coming around the backside. Of course, Icarus Dive is available. And yeah, iceiceice going to move to the backside here, just shooting out those fire spirits. Tower stays standing. The laser trying to soften up Phonic a little bit. Another shackle will latch. And no way Phonic survives this one as the magic missile comes out. Berserkers call for a little bit of extra armor, but a stray arrow from FY will secure it. Vici pulling ahead 4-2 as they defend that top tier 1.
This Phoenix just being such a high level allows him to have such an impact on this game. Yeah. Even without the supernova there, just his fire spirits, his dive, and the sunray are already level 2 now, doing a lot of damage to the Navi heroes. And Max, who is not meant to be pretty damn tanky, especially with a Vanguard at this stage of the game. But Phonic, since getting this Vanguard, he got solo killed by the Phoenix, dies there to a rotation, so he was almost doing better before he got this Vanguard. Yeah. And his Blink Dagger's looking very slow at this rate. Yeah. Noticed Phoenix, was that only 3 points in the Icarus dive? Is there a break point there? Why not max it out if you're going to go this deep? No, just a little extra damage, so just looking for that buffed up sun right now. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Phoenix players go like only 2 points in the dive and then go back to the dive scales so poorly. Oh my gosh, it's just damage. Yeah, you just get damage, there's no cooldown change. It's like a 1-point wonder almost. Like, who levels Icarus dive for the damage? It seems 2 is like the value, but if you're getting this many levels for solo kill potential, maybe the dives. I feel like I personally have seen most people go for a 2 dive then sunray. Yeah, especially the support one. Yeah, the sunray just scales so much better. That's the other thing. I guess as a Midas offlaner who's already level 11, he's going to be 14 in no time. He's going to have everything maxed. True enough. True enough. Definitely splitting hairs. Just more curious than anything else why the 3 points. I don't see most Phoenixes stop at the 3 points. It's either 2 or 4. You know, go full damage or go for that little value. The sunray scales really well though. Oh yeah, yeah. The heal especially is really nice. So we just see a smoke from Vici. Roche was taken out by Navi, I believe. Who picked up the Aegis? Was it Dendi? Yeah. He soloed it with a Mask of Madness pickup. He's going for a huge glass cannon, very risky build here with a Mask of Madness into a Shadow Blade. Whoa, okay. Much different take on this hero from what we've seen most other FF doing this tournament. Running in the top lane. Wrong place at the wrong time, buddy. Iceiceice goes in. He takes a magic missile. Now the Icarus dive forward. Even a supernova used for this. Swap back. Oh, the setup is fresh. Now even a shackle to the trees. Vici are on fire here, Parker. They didn't get the Tau tonight. They tried to sneak that one as well with the FY Wind Ranger, and that was what was baiting the Axe into that one, but still a nice kill once again. Slow down the Axe Blade. He is on 1800 gold though, so we'll have it soon, but Phonic 1 and 4. It's not been his day. Yeah, nice synergy though with that swap in the Supernova. You can pretty much ensure someone's going to get hit by it in all these team fights, assuming the Venge isn't the one initiated on. Fun little synergy there. Yeah, Dendi almost with the Shadow Blade now. He's got just 100 more gold to farm, and we'll see what his next move is going to be. I feel like with this Shadow Blade, he's going to be looking for solo kills around the map. The other big benefit of having all this extra attack speed from Midas, from Mask of Madness, even the Shadow Blade giving attack speed, is being able to kill the Supernova. This is where normally I feel like you would not see this Mask of Madness build. It's very high risk. We'll get the BKB, I imagine, as his next unmasked, the Shadow Blade, and BKB Mask of Madness, you can bring down that tank pretty damn fast. Yeah, you're right though. You look at all of his items, even power treads, everything Dendi's building here has some sort of secondary synergy with attack speed. So hedging his bets well and bottling up another bounty rune here at the 16-minute mark. Dendi #1 on net worth by a good bit, but it's Iceiceice at #2. Him and FY will group up in the top to finish off that tier 1 tower, leaving Navi with just 1 tier 1 remaining in the bottom. Though soon to be at 1 themselves as Navi pressuring the tier 1 in the bottom lane. Look at these lane wards they've got down here. One behind the tier 1 and just a fresh one here right into that jungle. They are ready to stay aggressive. Oh yeah, they don't want to just let Black catch up on farm in the jungle here. Meanwhile, top lane, Phonic gets scouted out by FY, but that's going to be a kind of non-exchange. So how is Black actually faring? Net worth at the tail end of the cores, 5.3k, nearly doubled by the Shadow Fiend. At this point, he's got at least can offer something to his team. Having levels, getting points in the precision aura, everyone gets a bonus 23 damage for the time being. It's not much, but once he gets level 11, he'll have 2 in the marksmanship, the max aura, and then he can even give everyone like around plus 40, plus 45. So having 5 ranged heroes, everyone in some sense is going to be at least a semi-carry. Your Wind Ranger just hitting shackles and right-clicking can do some good damage as well. Yeah, very true. Smoke rotation now from Vici as they move into the dire jungle. Wind Ranger will be in the mid, and she's actually kind of the target they're looking at. Is that the power shot here, stolen by Rubik? Yep, okay, nothing too crazy. Both teams just trading towers a lot this game. You got Vici Gaming, who don't seem to want to fight too much when Navi have like a positioning advantage already, but this mid lane, Actually, mid lane is being pressured by Navi, but it's a tier 2 at top that
Radiant
Vici Gaming may
fortified
find
their
with the
towers.
Phonic Axe skill.
Radiant's
Yeah,
middle
Phonics actually
tower is
moving on
being
up. Okay,
attacked.
gets the Blink Dagger and we'll be able to blink back to safety. But playing with fire, he's already been caught out a couple of times in similar situations. Dendy in the mid, looking to chip at this tower. Ice comes in to soften him up with the Icarus dive. He'll Shadow Blade away. And for now, Navi will be repelled, as will Vici at the tier 2 top. So both sides going to stop trading for now. Mech now up on the Wind Ranger.
Okay, and Vici Gaming have a really good team fight. They're not playing too aggressive because Dendy does have the Aegis on Shadow Fiend, so it's a bit of a high risk to try and take a fight, especially if he's the one you go on and he's got that second life. But Avos with a BKB gets a nice item of his own to take on this Vici Gaming kind of. I imagine it's going to be somewhat of a 5-man coming soon. They've got Medusa ready to fight. I think they can just fight as 4 while the Drow farms, even if they don't want to involve Black too much.
Yeah, Havos actually opting to skip the drums here. Like usually when he plays the gyro and goes to this build, he does the same thing except actually upgrades that bracer before committing to the BKB. So here is really prioritizing that early skirmish ability, making sure that he can fight as soon as the team needs him to. Dendy starting to just lay into this tier 1 tower mid. Vici very adamant about defending though. They will rotate 5 heroes. As I say that, the Wind Ranger TP's back, but everybody in this general vicinity ready to defend if Navi do overcommit.
Aegis gone though, so I think Navi not even going to commit at this point, so they'll back off.
They instantly back out as soon as it expires. Nice triple stack here though, they can clear up.
Yeah, for Dendy and Avos, like sure Avos is good at BKB, but Dendy is a glass cannon and needs more items for himself.
So where does Dendy go from here though with this kind of interesting build he started with? Okay, there he answers my question. The crit, straight glass cannon, all damage for the Dendy Shadow Fiend. I like it, gods, but it feels a little risky.
It feels so risky, but I'm
into it.
Me too, man.
As a spectator, it's awesome, but as the Navi fan, I'm a little shaky on it right now. We'll see.
I mean, he's going to be the main damage to bring down the Medusa, and at the end of the day, going glass cannon is great for that. And he's going to rely on the Abaddon to keep him alive, the axe with the blink calls. He's going to have to play very conservatively with this glass cannon build and just play around his teammates.
They do have good space creators for it though. Even the Rubik, if somebody gets right up in his face, they've got a telekinesis, they've got Fade Bolt to try to mitigate some of that aura damage coming out. Hopefully he can sit in the way back, or hopefully for his sake at least. But Vici Gaming still in pretty good shape themselves. This Medusa continuing to farm, getting towards the Scotty. Now Fenrir initiated on into mid, jumped on and brought down in a matter of seconds. Not even a dunk as GoBlack gets the kill. Proposed will use the BKB, call down climb through. They get a kill on Ice now. Tower will fall. Stone Gaze buys Vici some time to disengage, and they'll cut their losses there as a 2-0. With this tier 1 tower down, but Navi, they're not done yet, guys. They're going to keep on going. Recognizing the Stone Gaze is down. Phonic hops in, right on the super. He's low on mana, and the dunks are coming. There it is. It'll be a 3-0 now in the mid. Dendy almost ties to the tower, but GoBlack will keep him safe, and now he'll lifesteal into the neutral.
Oh man, Vici Gaming just not all on the same page as one another. You've got the Phoenix who went in underneath the tower. The problem was ultimately the Avengers being kind of caught out by the blink call, but after that, they either need to commit or they need to just back off. Phoenix went in with the dive plus Supernova. Meanwhile, the Medusa was backing off. They needed to basically use the Stone Gaze with the Supernova, or they don't stand a chance in a team fight. Yeah. Navi have way too much damage at this stage of the game with the Shadow Fiend and the way he's itemized.
Yeah. So it's up to about a 7,500 gold or net worth and experience advantage here for the dire Navi. Pulling further and further into the lead. Drill Ranger still struggling to get her core set of items. Yasha and Mask of Madness now up on her power treads, but still at the tail end of the pack, and the gap is growing. Dendy's staying a consistent about 90–100% ahead of him in terms of farm.
Yeah, it's one of those things when Vici Gaming a few minutes ago, not the case anymore, when iceiceice on Phoenix is your highest net worth hero. That's a problem, because he is the kind of space creator / utility hero of their 3 cores. It's the Medusa and the Drill Ranger who are the 2 real carries, so you don't want to be giving... It's not so much that he's taking farm away from him, it's just that he's the one that Navi are not pressuring. So he gets all this farm, but it's Black who got tri-lanes against, didn't get anything out of the safe lane. The Medusa who lost the mid lane to a Shadow Fiend and didn't get any support help because Navi were running the offensive tri-lane. So Vici's supports were locked down in that bottom lane, and as a result, both Vici carries are constantly trying to just catch up to the SF, catch up to the Havos Gyrocopter.
Yeah, in general, the aggro tries seem to be a little bit of a rarity on this patch, but in this game, Navi with a very clear game plan and really making it work. And even the top lane, Axe kind of won the laning phase, and then, well, the beginning of the laning phase, I guess, and iceiceice came back. So now even in net worth, they're at a pretty even state, just constantly trading back and forth for that 4th, 5th slot. Bottom tier 1 now for Navi. Almost goes down. They will flip it just at the last second. Super initiated on behind the tower. Stone Gate is there. And who's actually going to be first to die? Tower goes down. Medusa will get the last hit there. Huge split shot damage coming out despite the call down. Now Stone Gate is utilized. Dendy may get petrified here. He'll get stunned up from the Supernova instead. But somehow Navi still have all 5 alive. Now the Requiem goes off. Oh, no.
And it's not enough though. Phoenix with a second life. This Phoenix is just doing so much damage. And the Skadi from the Medusa. No one can run the slows from this Vici Gaming team. You're just locked in place.
Both sides so tanky. I'm surprised it was only 4 heroes dead after all those cooldowns were burned. Stone Gaze from the Rubik, nicely played, but like you said, unfortunately just not enough to turn things around. It would be a huge gain for Vici. About 2,500 net worth as they now move into the tier 2. Phoenix with the Sunray here, just healing them all up. They get 2 towers out of it. Vici now regaining a lot of that lost footing.
That's how I felt that mid-fight would go. I was really surprised by how well Navi did, but it was kind of like they just picked Vici off one by one. When Vici Gaming fight together as a unit, they match up really well to Navi. The Ketep has to play somewhat defensively because of his item build, but Lost doesn't do damage because he has the BKB, so it's this weird balance where Navi don't really have that balance of damage with survivability on any one hero. Like, one hero does the damage, the other kind of has the survivability, but Vici Gaming can just go straight to they don't really do too much. And with most BKBs, they just ignore him. Or if they want to, they focus him down. They've got such great physical damage because of all the bonus damage, the auras, not to mention the Skadi flow which goes through his BKB.
Yeah, absolutely. Vanguard, or pardon me, has been upgraded now. Crimson Guard on Axe, still not particularly scary for Funnick. He's their initiator, he can lock somebody in place, but now kind of at risk of getting blown up once that Berserker's Call is done and he loses all that bonus armor. Vici, following that successful fight, will move into the Roche Pit. They finish it off and get the Aegis. iceiceice just racking up the farm, though. He just completed a Shiva's and already a Blink Dagger on top of it.
And he's level 16, so it's going to take an extra 3 attacks to destroy the Supernova, which makes Navi's life very difficult. At the same time, if he uses that Supernova in a really bad spot like he did in the mid lane where he's in the middle of 4 heroes, it's dead no matter how many hits it takes. But yeah, that Supernova at the bottom lane there was really well placed. He didn't try... It's one of those things where naturally you want to try use it in the middle of a pack of heroes because it stuns them, but 9 times out of 10 your X is going to die if you do that. So he does it on the edge where if Navi don't back off, they get stunned, or if they do back off, they're slowed. Medusa's just constantly poking at them, bringing them down. So that Supernova was perfectly placed.
Vanscore's also found a Blink Dagger on his Rubik. Not sure when he was able to pick that up, but has it secured now, and Dendy gets his BKB following that last fight. Dendy's net worth is still insane. 15k. Next highest will be the Medusa at about 11.8. Navi still holding on to a 5,000 net worth and experience lead as they smoke in their jungle. Dendy is hungry for blood here, Parker. Can they find it is the question. FY, oh boy, walks right into the danger zone, and that'll be a quick pick on the poor redhead.
I'm one, but I don't think I'll get too much more immediately out of this at least.
Yeah. Wax still not finding much item progression, though he does have 3,500 gold.
Radiant's bottom tower is being attacked.
So maybe a Manta on the way for him. I don't really know the right way for him to itemize. It might be a game where a Blink Dagger could be something that he considers.
Yeah, I don't think Manta gives much against this game. Blink Dagger fits nicely. Other than that, he needs to just go for either a more like pure DPS build or survivability. But BKB not help much against the Axe of Shadow Fiend, so I don't know if Manta's the way to go here.
Well, we'll see. He's gonna have to buy something soon, though.
I'll take that.
If a fight breaks out with all that money, not an item, could hurt.
Yeah, that's where Navi have a 5k lead, but if he's banking money and there's a team fight...
If he's banking 4k, that net worth graph is not very representative of the damage being done. That's for sure.
Super, though, he's making up for it on the front line. Skadi, Yasha, this is where Navi kind of struggle to push, because Super doesn't have to worry too much about his positioning. Through the vent swap to back him up, and he's just naturally tanky as all. 1800 HP, mana shield, Aegis on him. Navi can't push while he has the Aegis for sure, so they're gonna back off, probably just look to keep up their farm. Dendy gonna look to maintain his net worth and finish off a Daedalus fairly soon. So
it's a full BKB picked up on Black, so he'll spend all that money down and get that magic immunity. Not the best BKB game either, though. Axe, Gyro, and Shadow Fiend all do a lot of physical damage.
The SF can do a lot of magic damage, but it's not like there's a Yule into Blink type setup.
He does a lot of magic damage, but look at his items. The right clicks are pretty serious this game. It's Flash Cannon Invincible that he's optimized for. Clinic caught out in the Ancients. Vici find a free pick-me up there. Super will grab the last hit, so little bump to the bottom line of the Medusa, who is nipping at the heels of Dendi's Nevermore.
Yeah, I feel like the late game gets kind of scary for Navi, because if Windranger can transition to a semi-carry, Black's going to be caught up. Everyone's starting to hit harder. We're seeing 47 bonus damage coming out of the Precision Aura, so that's just going to keep on getting bigger and bigger. That's all 5 heroes just hitting a lot harder than they normally would. And Vici Gaming with Aegis in hand, they've still got this for another minute. This is even a high ground attempt.
This is scary. Axe, does he have a buyback here in case it's necessary? Oh, Shadow Fiend's the only one that has it. So Vici with the right call to go high ground. Dire don't have a grip for another 10 seconds at least, so this tier 3 tower will take a lot of damage. Rubik steals a split shot from the Medusa, not particularly useful here. Super happy just to tank the tower, knowing he'll have a regen rune coming on his way. Pavone gets shackled into Go Black. It'll actually latch. Oh no, now Navi in trouble. Pavone goes down first, but it's Vici. Dive in the base. Supernova flies through. Dendi with the BKB on. Supernova won't do a hell of a lot, but it does zone out Navi for now. Kavo's still in the grave, no way to buy back here. They get the kill on the Drill Ranger, however, as she brings down the tower.
What an insane shackle. Go Black's like, oh, you're in front of the racks, I'm behind it, but it's shackled like through the melee racks to hit him. And I've also just like, I guess I don't have a shield anymore. I don't even, that's just one of those freak shackles where it's like, well, you kind of blame Go Black for his positioning, but it was just so insanely.
And that was like pretty close to the max range, it seemed like too. That was a really long shackle. I was shocked that it actually hit.
He couldn't BKB. He also spent his money on his MKB, so he didn't have buyback, but luckily for Navi, they do repel Vici Gaming. The physical damage enough to bring down the Drow, even with the BKB.
Full Daedalus on Dendi now, so Navi still finding some item progression. The kill on the Drill Ranger does help in that little trade there, but I don't know. This is sort of turning into an odd game where it's Vici have the obvious lead, but now Navi starting to get some decent items. Dendi's still hitting really hard now with the MKB up. I feel like even though Vici have control right now, Navi are certainly not out of this and could turn it around with just one key fight.
It's definitely been momentum leaning towards the Vici Gaming side after Navi had like a 10k gold lead almost, but it's also always scary when Medusa's getting more and more farm. The later the game goes, true. Generally, the more you favor the Medusa team, but
we're having some pause and a mass set of... And it looks like... Nice server split here, unfortunately. Luckily, we've got some redundant PCs in the lobby, so we've got our aces covered, and it looks like the teams can reconnect. So I said aces. I meant to say asses. I don't know why ace came out. So
we're experts at filling pause time here at BTS.
Apparently so. I don't know. Although I've kind of run out of fill today. That Shannon cast I had was... I told him, I'm glad that it's you and I stuck here. If this was me and Merlini, we would have fallen asleep by now. Filling with Ben for 3 hours is tough. Shannon, easy as pie. That guy can talk forever about nothing.
Yeah, it's like, you after an hour, you're just like, what did we talk about the last hour? And you're like, well...
Let's see, soda, bowel movements, greasy food, 10% of it was maybe Dota related. Usually just theory crafting things from Han and living in the past.
We were doing bubble trouble down here earlier. Syndred suggested slime soccer, which I got my practice in during
slime
the
soccer is different from slime volleyball?
Same concept, but it just
a net instead of a volley. Okay, that's nice. All right, that was a pretty short pause, though. Team's going to be able to reconnect. It looks like the server is holding steady for now. So, all right, fingers crossed here for server stability, gods.
Alrighty, so Vici Gaming slowly kind of inching back into this game, but it's Navi who've had an undefeated run since their day 1-0-3. That's just crazy to think that they could go undefeated after having such a bad day one and beating some top tier teams in the process. Taking out EG, and here they are against Vici Gaming, who's tied third place. So by no means a Navi win yet, but things are looking pretty alright for them. Dendi is just absolutely maximum on the Shadow Field.
Exactly. That's the thing with it's kind of topsy-turvy. Vici as a team have the gold advantage, but Dendi is still the crown prince, the Dark Lord, if you will, in terms of farm.
Navi have the gold advantage, actually.
Oh, they're still holding on to it. Oh, okay, there we go. 2,500 net worth gain. All right.
It's been swinging Vici's way for some time.
Yeah.
That's where there's some concern.
Where it gets scary. Okay. The other thing that is still on my back burner is rapiers this game. Medusa, generally regarded as the best rapier carrier in the game. And pretty common, I think, you'll see her pick one up, especially if this game continues to go on pretty long. We're 30 minutes in and still only one tier 3 down. So if those rapiers come out, Navi can make almost as good of use of it if Habos is able to pick it up. So that's where I see this late game potentially getting really interesting if those big items end up coming out.
Especially with the Phoenix Medusa late game, I'd love to see an Ag Scepter on this Phoenix. Just one of those items to fully rejuvenate the Medusa. You don't refresh the Stone Gaze, but if you Stone Gaze, then go into the egg, oh, like, what do you do? If Navi can't kill the egg, if Super gets low in HP, that's the move.
Oh, this here, FY gets dropped right away. Fenrir as well, taking a lot of damage, and they turn it around onto Funnick. Supernova gets channeled up, and Dendy channeled directly. And now they move to the high ground. Looks like Vincere got petrified. He'll steal the Stone Gaze once more, give a taste of their own medicine. Habos, DK beat up, call down to plenty, going for Super. Dusa stands her ground for now. Habos will not win this man fight. Gets bested by a lady. Down goes the Abaddon as well. It's a 2 for 3. Navi with only 2 left, but in shambles. Force the TP out. It will be Vici that take the fight.
Ooh. SF just with some insane burst damage on the win range event, but later on, like, Vici Gaming just kind of outlasts them. They've got this, at the end of the day, they just do so much damage even with 1 or 2 dead. The Phoenix Egg Supernova was once again placed really well. Not sure. Vincere stealing Stone Gaze for the second time this gaze. That's a bit sloppy from Super when he can just cast the split shot.
Yeah,
toggling. Yeah.
You know, I didn't realize that you could steal split shot until earlier when I was casting with Shannon. We noticed it and we're like, oh, that's kind of funky. But I guess it's a toggle, not an you know, I guess the same as like stealing Rot, for example. You just kind of turn it on and off. Yeah, it counts as a spell. It's kind of funny seeing Rubik with split shot, I have to admit. So yeah, you're right. Dusa, one of the easier heroes to blocks the ulti steal with. But this is Roche going down here. It will be Vici to grab it. This is Roche number 3. So Aegis and Cheese ready to rock and roll, and will go the Radiant's way.
iceiceice with the Cheese, Super on Medusa with an Aegis.
Dude, they couldn't kill Dusa once in that last fight. Killing her twice now. Going to be a difficult feat.
Just gives Super the freedom to buy Butterfly as soon as he can afford it to. He's not going to be worried about holding onto his buyback. They can... Oh, Navi looking to make a bold move here. I think they realize a 5-man towards their base is coming, but Super, he scouts it, and that's a hero you want in the front lane. Navi will see Super and have to back off.
Yeah, but he's invisible, now reveals, uses the BKB, iceiceice on the low ground. I think he just got petrified by the Stone Gaze for Vincere.
Okay.
Oh,
the same one.
I think it was the same one, but it will cost Vincere his life, though. Nope, it's just not good for Navi. I was trying to make a case for, well, only 1 dead, minimize their losses, but they were the aggressors. Navi really wanted that to be, Vici, you can no longer look towards our high ground now, and instead, Vici, look at this. We've got a 5v4, and probably safe to assume this Rubik is not looking so great in terms of buyback.
It was a bold move. I think Navi know that when the push comes to Medusa on the front line that they can't.
Oh, swap right onto Habos. He gets blown up before the BKB. Oh, now Navi in trouble. Dendy backing up. It will be an instant buyback from Habos. Rubik still dead for 10. He is wearing robes, so I guess you could call him Rubik. But they will try to make the defense here. High ground, taking a lot of damage. Super in the front lines of that fresh Aegis of the Immortal. And it looks like Vici will just wait for some more creeps to try and slow siege here.
It's so hard to find the Medusa. And that's where that smoke gank went so horribly wrong. Super just ran right at Navi, almost knowing they were coming out from that direction. He doesn't care if he runs into 5 heroes. He's got Stone Gaze, he's got Aegis. That's the ideal hero. For Navi, they want to be running into someone like Black on the Dura Ranger. The Phoenix, if they can catch Phoenix in the Berserker's core, they kill iceiceice before he can Super, before he can even use the cheese that he picked up. But somehow Vici Gaming, Super just, his movement made it seem like he knew exactly what Navi were doing.
Alright, Vici don't get the racks they wanted, but forcing a buyback on Havost is still pretty damn valuable. They'll finish off the last outer tower, the tier 2 in the top lane, and I think they've taken the gold lead now. I have to imagine they have. Yep, certainly so. About 5,000 net worth in their favor as Dusa gets her butterfly.
Oh, this is going to be scary. Hard to defend now. MKB coming soon on Den. He's just 500 away if he wants to risk not having buyback, but I feel like that's a risk you just can't do at this point when you're Rex on the field.
He hasn't died yet. 3-0 and 4. Super gets telekinesis into the base, but there should be support inbound. Yes, there is. iceiceice on the way. Super will stand his ground for now. Call downs coming up plenty. but they will look to focus the barracks now. Dire side have the glyph. They'll pop it to keep the melee barracks alive. The swap onto Dendi. He's BKB, but taking a lot of damage. It's a double pop. It looks like does huge damage as he goes down. Wind Ranger as well as the Vengefall, and they get the Aegis, but that's the power of Roche. Dendi will buy back, but they won't save the melee barracks. Now Vici on the retreat. Vengefall flinks forward. Telekinesis on the Super. Phonic comes in with the taunt, but iceiceice is there, dropping the damage. The laser's coming, and it's Navi getting cleaned up. Deuce is still alive. I think they passed her the cheese. And now it's almost a 5-man wipe. Dendi barely alive, and they still go down. Vanscore TP or GG's out before Dendi can even make it back to the well. Oh my.
That Sunray did so much damage there in the end. The G's was used by iceiceice. He hated himself. Medusa was just so
She was just so tanky. I was like, how does she have so many hit points still? I guess it was the laser was healing her up also.
Yeah, the laser healing her up, and just having Mana Shield meant that didn't take any damage. The only reason Medusa died the first time was because of the double Requiem of Souls. Or, well, the first one and then the dying one from Dendi, but I mean, Dendi the whole game, that